Hi guys, it's Amy with Aim to Plan, and today I am here with something a little different. This is my new prayer Bible. So I've been off of YouTube for a little while, just taking a break, enjoying the fall weather in September, and so this is my first video since coming back from my short hiatus. And in the time that I've been gone, I have been binge watching several different types of videos. I've been watching like chiropractor videos, Dr. Alex Tubio, just totally random, but I've been watching that. I've been watching a lot of violin videos from Two Set Violin, and I've also been watching a lot of prayer Bible videos. So in like the past week or two, there has been a new concept. At least it's been new to me. I just saw it pop up on my feed on YouTube, and it's a prayer Bible, and it's just, I think in the past couple of weeks, it's just kind of gone viral on YouTube, and I wanted to hop on the bandwagon. I thought it was a unique way of doing it. I'm going to link in the description the original video where I saw it, as well as a couple of adaptations. And so the original video, at least the first video that I saw, was from someone called, the channel is called the Sisteritas Club. And so she set up a very like decked out prayer Bible, and then I watched a couple other videos that were a little bit more like slimmed down, and so I am using, originally I'm giving her the credit for originally coming up with the idea, but I am using a slimmed down version, and I'll walk you through what I've got here. And I don't think this will be a very long video, just because, you know, it's already been set up and I just wanted to walk you through it and just kind of show you what I've got. Funny story is that I picked this up at the Dollar Tree for $1.25. I wanted something that was a micro size. And so this is, like, the cover itself is a little less than 3 inches and 4.5 inches. But the inner pages are, I would say, like 2 3/4 and 4 1/4. So it's about the micro size of the Happy Planner, if you're a Happy Planner fan. And so I wanted something very small and portable. You can see it just fits really nicely in the palm of my hand. I'm actually very zoomed in just because it's such a small, like, little book. But I did pick this up from the Dollar Tree, and I picked it up just for the purposes of putting together this prayer Bible, and then I set it down on the ground and turned my back for just a second. And my 9-month-old, she's almost 10 now, I can't believe it, but my 9.5-month-old got a hold of it and started chewing on it. And so, you know, not even a couple of hours after purchasing it, it's damaged. But I'm going to treat it as like it's been loved on by my baby. So anyway, again, I'll link the original video as well as a couple of adaptations. But I did decide to pick up this micro. I did pick it up where it is just, as you can see here, the King James version. That's a red letter edition, but it's only the New Testament. And I really kind of wanted one that was like Psalms and Proverbs as well. But then as I got into like putting together the tabs or putting the tabs on here, I thought that it might be better that I didn't have that, just because I would want to like tab every single thing in the Psalms and Proverbs. And so it was probably better that I just kept it like simple and just used the New Testament. Now, of course, there are going to be Old Testament verses that applied to some of these categories here as well. And so if I do find some that do apply, what I'm thinking is I'm going to put together a prayer like notebook that's a micro size, like a Happy Notes micro size, and I'll write in that prayer notebook some of the verses that are from Old Testament, and then maybe eventually just kind of tape it into the pages here. But this is the King James Version. I'll just show you a random page. It is very tiny text, as you can see here. I can still read it, but I can see eventually that I might not be able to read it, so I might need a magnifying glass or something like that. But for right now, I can still read it. It's super tiny font, but this is what I've got. Okay, now I've talked about like the setup and everything else. So what I'm gonna do is show you my categories. And so based on the Sisteritas like idea, you pick or like use tabs, and you use these tabs in order to mark the different categories of prayers that you use. Now, one of the things that I did that's a little bit different from the original video is I decided to keep them lined up. So you can see that these are all lined up, and these are the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different prayer categories that I have. And if you saw this quick glimpse earlier, I basically decided to, at least to start off with, to use my 8 categories related to the Beatitudes, and that's from Matthew 5. And this will probably be the only section that I read to you, but this is Matthew 5, starting in verse 3. It says, "Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of God, of heaven. Blessed are they that mourn, for they shall be comforted. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. Blessed are they which do hunger and thirst after righteousness, for they shall be filled. Blessed are the merciful, for they shall obtain mercy. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the children of God. Blessed are they which are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven." And then the next verse is like the secondary beatitude related to persecution. And so I decided to use those 8 and just kind of reinterpret it. I did, for the first one, the poor in spirit, I wrote it as spiritual poverty. I also put in parentheses here that I wanted to add prayers related to salvation. And so I thought that was like important and the most primary thing. So I thought that fit well together with the idea of like being spiritually poor, or like knowing that we are sinners and needing God, as well as like praying for salvation as well for those who are not saved or not called to Christ yet. And so that is tabbed here. And so I did draw an arrow just because I wrote a little bit further left than I wanted to. But these all right here are the ones for spiritual poverty. The second one is mourning, and I included in there grief, of course, but also like healing. So for those of people who are going through emotional or physical health issues, I wanted to have a category for that and tied it in with mourning. The next one is meekness. I put here humility, but also like gentleness. So that kind of is this third category. And then I put righteousness as the fourth one because that's straight from the Beatitudes, but I also added in here justice. And so just kind of praying for equality, justice, social justice issues. So that's there. The next one is mercy. And so I of course see mercy and have verses related to mercy, but also included in there verses related to forgiveness. The next one is purity, and so it's purity of heart, and so I put it here as part of that, sanctification, or just growing closer to God. So there's some verses related to that. The next one is peace. And so I put here just joy, but I'm really thinking it's going to be peace, love, joy, maybe charity, maybe just kind of like a category of like the fruits of the spirit. So that's there. And then the last one is persecution. I didn't have like a parenthetical there. It's just persecution, or just like praying for people who are suffering, and not suffering as in mourning, but suffering in other ways. And so that goes there. Now I did, as I mentioned, I tabbed it like this. And so I didn't bother with like using the same colors for each of the categories, which is one of the things that the channel, the Sisteritas Club, mentioned, was like, you know, for meekness, pick a color and just tab wherever using that same tab. I didn't bother with that. I just tabbed it like this, just because, you know, to me, it just is less visually cluttering, and I just liked it a little bit better. So I did decide to tab on the left hand side too, and one of the things that I did do, and I'm just going to show you, let's do mourning instead. Okay, so let's do mourning. I did go online and just typed in, you know, on Google, like Bible verses for mourning and healing, and what I did decide to do is tab it on the left hand side where it's just barely peeking out. And so when I fold it over, it actually doesn't pop out at all, so it's just barely hanging over the page. Hopefully you can see that. And then I used the pen and just kind of underlined the verse. So for this one, it is Matthew 9:22. And on the back side, the paper is thick enough that it didn't shadow through there. So I thought that worked out well. And so I just underlined the verse. And one thing that I am doing that's very similar to what the channel, the Sisteritas Club, is doing, is that's the only verse that I'm highlighting on the entire page. So that's it. I just have that one mark and that one section that's highlighted. In some of the verses, I do highlight several different verses, but it's all related to the same theme. So this one is mourning, and because that's that second section, and this one, but Jesus turned him about, and when he saw her, he said, "Daughter, be of good comfort. Thy faith had made thee whole." And the woman was made whole from that hour. So again, I won't read every single verse, but that's the verse there. And if you want a list of my verses, I can certainly send them to you. But this is an example of how I kind of split it up. So these are both related to mourning, right? And so this is John 16:20, and then John 16:22, right? And then again, I just tabbed it on the left-hand side, right? And then this verse right here, 2 Corinthians 2:4, right? And so I just pretty much did that. And so I did try to find, as you can see here, at least a handful, like at least 3. At least I was trying for 5, and I think I did get 5 for every single category. Now, the categories that I use, as you can see, they're like thematic, related to the Beatitudes, and so I can see over time where I might need to add categories. But for the time being, since I'm just starting with this, I thought this was a good way of praying through it, and using my Bible to be able to pray for people who are dealing with certain issues. So if someone's dealing with a physical health issue, I can go in here and just pray some of the verses related to healing and mourning. And so that is there. I know that for a lot of people, they wrote specifically for like their spouse or their children. And I think I'm just going to keep it to this and just kind of pray. For example, like for my daughters, pray the category purity of heart and just read through these verses for them. Or like with me and my husband, just praying for peace and joy and love in our relationship. And so I'll just read through that category. So instead of having like a designated person that's being prayed over here, I'm just going to focus on the theme, and I can pray any of these themes over any of the people in my life. So that's kind of where I am with my prayer Bible. I thought it was a very unique way of using a Bible, even though it's been chewed up. It is, so far it was like, it only took me a few hours to be able to tab everything, to find the verses and tab them and underline them. And now I'm ready to use it. I'm excited about being able to get into the Word and pray specifically with God's Word. Some of the specific themes and prayers that people might ask for me, I'm able to find a theme and pray verses over them. And so as I go through the New Testament, I'll be able to tab even more. And so I'm excited about that. I'm excited about the entire process. We'll see how this goes. I do want to add this to my faith life. And now I have something that's small enough that can fit into my purse. And I plan to carry this around with me everywhere and just be able to tab and pray and just kind of mark it up. And yeah, we'll see where it goes. So yeah, that's my take, at least, on the Sister Rita's Club prayer Bible process videos that she's been posting in the past couple of weeks. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to my channel, and until the next video. Bye guys.